Let's get started with the second session here at the Next Gen stage today. We are literally filling the stage today with a number of different teams that wants to show their solutions and angles to how we create a sustainable future, leaving no one behind. I hope you will join me today. We have a session now with 13 early stage startups from all around the world that's going to be pitching here in front of a jury panel, but also in front of all of you. And I will encourage you also to connect and network with all these teams afterwards as well. There's rich opportunity. We're here at the Congress for all the days. My name is Marie, and I'm located at a place called DTU Skylab at the Technical University of Denmark, where we work on providing opportunities for students and startups to work with organizations and industries, not only from Denmark, but also internationally. And we have, for the last 5 years, onboarded and co-created a program that's called Next Generation, where we every year collaborate with an international congress or a summit to bring in young student teams and startups to work on accelerating or ideating new ideas that we can bring into the global dialogues of our sustainable future. We, for almost 3 years, have been collaborating with the UIACph23 to look at how could we foster and involve partners of the Congress to look into the overall theme of providing a sustainable future, leaving no one behind, and give a voice, and not at least a stage, for student teams and startups at this Congress. So we're really, really happy and excited to be here today. We have certainly not done this alone. We've had a lot of great partners to support and enable us to provide full scholarships for all the students and startups that are here at the Congress to be involved. And we've also had a large number of international universities that have been supporting and recruiting the students that you will be meeting here today. It is a large-scale initiative. In fact, we have more than 125 students, young researchers and startups with us here at the Congress. They represent 8 different countries that for us as a university has been very strategic to work with, but also making sure that we really have global perspectives and involvement here at the Congress, looking at the different continents and what they can bring into the dialogue there. We have 4 sessions today. Now we're going to go on to session 2, which is focusing on our early stage startups. We have 13 startups that are now going to take the stage to present the ideas that they have already been working on, but where we have provided them with additional bootcamp to understand how to make the most out of this Congress, how to make sure that they also have a focus on inclusion as part of their projects as well. And in the afternoon, we're going to celebrate and award a number of winners, both from today, but also as part of this program. So I hope you will also join us later on for this celebration at 4. At 2:30, we have a number of student teams that have been working with industries and organizations that will bring their perspectives as well to the stage. To also provide feedback and scoring to the teams today, we have invited a number of profiles to hopefully both be kind, but also give them some critical feedback on the projects that they are doing. So I'm extremely pleased to welcome Eske from the Innovation Center Denmark and India, Chiara, who is my colleague from DTU Sustain, Duvan, who is from the Embassy of Colombia in Denmark, and Ditte Weise from the Innovation Center Denmark in Seoul. So the way going forward is that we're going to have the 13 startups up here on the stage. They're going to have 3 minutes to communicate their solution by the use of slides, and then afterwards there's going to be 2 minutes for the panel to give them feedback. And I hope also that you're going to help us create a lot of energy energy and support for the teams going forward. So we're going to be fairly strict with the time. So how we're going to do it is that when you have 15 seconds left, my colleague Gabriella is going to raise her hand, and you know you need to close it up. And then we have a little bell when the time is up, and then we really encourage you to stay on time. There is an award today which is also about the best pitch, so the communication today is also really important. So without further ado, I am really excited to welcome the first team up on stage, which is all the way from Colombia. That's called ERLE. Please give them a big applause and welcome to the session.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for staying here. I am Miguel, and I'm going to tell a story about my life. When I was a child, I suffered of asthma, one of the respiratory diseases related with air pollution. But in my country, Colombia, there are more than 5 million of people that suffer these diseases. Air pollution is generating 4 million of deaths each year according to WHO data. And building sector is one of the causes that generate this air pollution, responsible of 23% of this situation. About that, my father, he was an electronic engineer, developed an air purifier that can improve my life quality and my health with a successful result. Unfortunately, my dad passed away a few years ago, but I decided to continue his legacy. I am a founder and CEO of ERLE. What is ERLE? ERLE is a Colombian startup dedicated to clean the indoor air in homes, in living space, in companies. That's, you know, the situation with air pollution outside. But inside, we can breathe bad air that impact our health. We bring solutions to clean the indoor air for made air purifiers that doesn't use filters, chemicals, liquids, because it works with the most natural, powerful disinfectant in the world, according to the WHO, the ozone. ERLE, what is the benefits? What brings ERLE? ERLE disinfect, eliminate all kinds of microorganisms as virus, bacteria, gels, mesophils, etc. until 90% between 5 to 30 minutes according to the cover of the area of home or company. The odors eliminate all kinds of bad odors as food, garbage, etc. Purify, ERLE has an advantage. The ozone is composed a molecule of 3 molecules of oxygen. The air that we breathe is composed by 21% oxygen. About that, the ozone merges with the air and create a different air, a fresh air, a clean air. And ERLE is an inclusive air purifier. Why? First, access. It's a cheap air purifier, only costs $75. Second, technology, you can connect with your Alexa, and the you say, Alexa, turn my air for you. It functions with that. 3, design. It has a simple design. You only plug in, turn on, and it functions. That. It's friendly with the environment because it's made with a steel box that guarantee a long term. We invest in entertainment, treats, food, beautiful, but are we investing in improving our health and enjoy better indoor air quality in our living space? We start ERLE in the 2020. This is the results of our business with a marvelous team. We're ERLE. Thank you so much to listen us.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot. And please give a big applause. Please stay on the stage. And then I will give the mic to the panel. I think we have the handheld mic next to Chiara here to hear if there are any questions, comments, reflections. Yeah, Eske.
Thanks a lot for that pitch. Having lived in Seoul and now in Bangalore, I do have quite a few air purifier systems, and I hate the stock I have of filters. So can you just confirmed to me that this product, which is already on the market, is one of its kind in terms of not needing filters or liquids or any other types of substances. And how does that work?
Okay, perfect. Thank you for your question. It works with ozone. Inside had an ozone generator system that is a valve long term that generates ozone and spares ozone in the environment. This system isn't require a filter, for example, a HEPA filter. Or other, for example, liquids. We know other system that needs liquids. No, it doesn't need that. Only have the system, the ozone generator system, no more.
All right, Dieter?
Yes, thank you for the pitch. I'm wondering in practical terms, how big a space will it clean? How many would you need in one home? And also, how do you know that it works if you don't have a filter where you can see anything? How do you measure the effects as a customer?
Okay, our devices has this one cover 30 square meters. But we develop devices as 100,000 meters. That industrial devices that can cover a big big spaces, depend the requirement of the customer. For example, we have customer from companies, the daily industry, pharmaceutical industry, that they develop big devices that cover big spaces. For example, this one. And
all right.
For how guarantee the air purifier works with this sensor air quality, it guarantees eliminate the pollutants in its track PM1, PM2, .5, PM10, and the quantity of ozone that generate our air purifier. And the idea is you can see decrease these pollutants in the moment. This sensor is developed by us too.
All right, thanks a lot. So in respect of time, please give a big hand to Air for You. Got some brochures there, yes. All right, so it's great to see so many of you. What we're doing here on this stage is that we're providing an opportunity for early stage startups to give their perspectives on how we create a sustainable future, leaving no one behind. So next up from a startup in Colombia, we now welcome ERLE Tec from Denmark. Please give them a big hand.
Hello. All right. So we are Carsten and Pablo. I'm going to present you ERLE Tec, which is our startup idea, startup to be, where, at least in the beginning, we are going to target automating concrete construction. First of all, let's set the ground. We are talking about construction, and we have two big goals in construction. First, we want to become net zero in 2050. Second, we want to provide affordable housing for all. We already know the problems. We are not even close. Concrete industry alone is responsible of the 8% of the CO2 emissions. We have 2 billion people living in non-adequate houses. That's 25% of the population. So it's pretty clear that construction, as we know it, as it is not working as good as it should. So something has to change here, and has to change a lot. So in this revolution that we have in mind, we want to be part of it. In ERLE Tec, we believe that we have to automate construction to make this goal happen. And for that, this is how we envision how a construction site will look like in 10 years from now. We believe that small robots will perform the tasks while we as humans, we will control them. So we make construction universal. So everybody has to be able to control this robot. We have to open the construction site. It can't be limited to this physically capable, strong, skilled workforce. This is the big picture, but where are we? We are just starting. This is our first prototype. We automate the construction of very simple concrete walls in the beginning, and we are developing all this technology with sustainability in mind. So now we target construction, but this technology has to be simple enough and robust enough to perform these same tasks with all the nice sustainable materials that we are hearing and listening these days. We are just at the beginning of this story. Until now, we've been just working on the weekends. And we got last week the first grant. So starting 1st of September, we will be fully dedicated, employed full-time on this idea. So we are openly looking for co-founders, people from management, robotics, also some graphic designer. And here today, we want to talk to you, architects, because we need your input. You are the people that will design the buildings that we have to build with our robots. You are the people that define the materials that we have to use. So we need you to make it happen. Sorry. We are also trying to talk with construction companies, if any here. And finally, we are very interested in looking for partners, like other startups, to collaborate, to walk this path that we just started, and leave no one behind. So this is ERLE Tec.
All right, on the second for your pitch. Great. Yeah, we have a Duan question.
Thank you for the presentation. Have you checked if there are other companies, startups or others, doing the same that you do? What makes your design unique? And what possibilities can it offer that more established firms don't offer?
So we know that more people is innovating construction. We are aware of that. We know that so far no one had hit the market in the innovation way that we believe that this will look like. We understand this automation of construction with very small, smart robots, mobile robots, and the innovation nowadays with 3D printers, for example, if you are aware of, it's a different technology. I think all of us have room. Construction is a massive sector, and we believe that we have some uniqueness here that we can just get.
And can you maybe elaborate a little bit on the sustainability impact of utilizing your technology?
Yeah, so we address sustainability from two perspectives. First, the technology that we want to develop, or we have, it has to be simple enough and robust enough to work with conventional concrete nowadays, and that one, it already works, but we have to be able to adapt it to any sustainable material, hempcrete or green binders or any other new building materials that come to the market. So that's for us important, to develop the technology in that direction. And second, automating construction so we can program it in a computer and we build only whatever we need. We tend to optimize the amount of material that we use and reduce it as much as possible. So those are the two approaches that we have.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you very much. I understood that you said anyone should be able to operate the robot. Could you clarify again who is the intended customer base here? Is it construction companies or also private?
So definitely in the beginning, we are targeting construction companies. So we want to rent or send or sell the robots for them. But potentially this technology, we want to make it universal, but we want to make it very easy to use, like with a remote car controller. It has to be open for everybody.
All right, and with those words, thank you a lot to ERLE Tec. Please give them a huge applause. Thank you very much. And from Denmark, early stage startup, we welcome the next one all the way from India. Please give a warm welcome to Karlo T. It's this one.
Hi everyone. I am Arvind, my colleague Suresh. We both are co-founder of CarIoT solution. So CarIoT is an IoT-enabled smart water and waste management system that provides the sustainable practices like detecting the water leakages, wastewater management, and monitoring the water quality in real time for residential, commercial, and industrial sectors. So let me explain the current challenges, the problems which we are facing in the water management system in India. It's over-exploitation of water. We do not have a smart metering system to monitor the non-revenue water usage. And that's zero preventive measure. So no feasible device available to generate the instant alert or notification for water leakage and water quality. Then scarcity of water quality. Actually, the water distribution network and pumping stations are very large and chances for the water contaminated in these distribution centers are very higher. So manual monitoring and like inspection at regular intervals, practically it's not very difficult there. Difficult to predict the demand and supply. we do not have forecast like water sustainability and availability without the water data. So we don't have any water data to predict the demand and supply of water. So our product Care IoT has been designed in such a way to overcome the above problem effectively. Our product is connected with multiple components and sensors like TDS pH and provide the most advanced cloud-based technology to measure, manage and monitor the water effectively. We have successfully completed 2 years and we already done like 100 plus installations, and we have like 100 plus clients, dedicated clients in our database. We also empanelment with the Jal Jeevan mission, which was launched by Prime Minister of India to provide the safe and adequate water in rural areas for sustainable living.
So, we'll start our journey like installing the IoT-based solution for residential and apartments and commercial buildings. And in the start of 2022, we have signed an MOU with Government of India and CMW SSB. This is one of the largest metropolitan city in India. It's the 4th largest city with population of around 11 plus million people. And before we signed a MOU, the existing system is like they don't have a centralized monitoring system to monitor the water demand and water supply for entire city. And for example, the population of the current demand is around 930 MLD million liters per day, which is going to be expected to be 2031 million liters per day in 2025. In that case, there is no centralized system and all the pipelines are very big and larger one, which they can able to monitor manually with a pump operator like that. So we installed our IoT system in 10 distribution areas with the approval. We given a real-time data analytics for the pumping station, how much of water is being supplied and the demand and whether it is tallied, and we given a proper auditing report of water audit. In that case.
Right. Thank you very much. Time is up, but you also have the last slide now. Please give a warm applause to Karlo IoT. Now you get an opportunity also to provide some clarity for, maybe some, Chiara, you have a question here?
Yeah. I'm a bit knowledgeable of the Indian context because I have some students there. But it's just to know, I mean, is this system made for centralized or decentralized system? Because you have an issue in India regarding the rural area and the connection to the central system. Also, you have an issue regarding the large system maintenance.
Yes.
So in relation to the government. So how does this connect to that problem, that challenge?
Yes, now government is mostly prefer for the centralized one. That's why they move for IoT. Earlier, they used PLC and SCADA based, which is decentralized, which they can able to monitor in the from the top level. Only they need to get the report with the paper wise, like each stage by stage. Now we are sending the data to the centralized government server with the API. From the cloud, from our cloud, we will send the data to the Government of India through API. So, yeah.
It support the connection to the rural area, to the centralized water system, or it is supporting the interconnection with the with, for example, decentralized systems in that, for example, make water reuse or whatever other potential solutions that you have for the rural area.
Yeah, even rural area also we implemented a solution, and all the data will be communicated with the API basis to the centralized server.
All right. A question, Duan?
Thank you. Brief question. I heard a lot about the objectives. I would like to know more about the actual solutions you're offering. For example, if integrated into existing waterworks, or if independent, for example, in non-accessible areas, how does it translate to actually providing this kind of water quality to the people, to the final user?
Okay, so our IoT, this is our IoT product, which has been installed in each and every nodes, every tail nodes, so that the data from that one can be communicated to the cloud to the end user. end user and also to the next level of people who can able to access the data. And the previous one which we did is already existing system. That in existing system we connected our IoT device, and with that we given the data to the government official. So earlier the system is like they predominantly depending on system, and they need a license based software. When we come to ours is a cloud based open source, so they can easily access based upon the login.
All right.
All the data.
Short question, short answer.
2 short questions and 2 short answers. Namaskara. What sets you aside from all the other water IoT devices out there? That's number 1. And number 2, why are you here? What's your ask?
We are IoT based company for completely only for water and water management, starting from pump automation towards the water quality. Completely we will manage in a simple system. It applicable to a commodity, or it applicable to the buildings like that. So
So we are here because we have developed, it's a global product. So we want to explore everywhere, like every countries we want to do a channel partner. We wanted to make a channel partner with all the countries. So that's why we are here to go.
All right, thanks a lot. Give it please a big applause. You have the clicker? The clicker? Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, thanks a lot. And as you can see, I mean, what we're trying to do here is also to provide a stage for relevant startups that have a role to play in our inclusive, sustainable futures. So for us, it goes well beyond the architecture and the built environment, but also the technologies that we put into our cities. From India, now we're going to go to Ghana, to Limbo, Accra. Please give a warm welcome to Dominique.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dominique Petitfrère, and I'm the co-founder of Limbo, Accra. This is a quick introduction just to show you what I'll be covering in my presentation today. Limbo Accra is a spatial design practice specializing in the transformation of uncompleted property developments in Ghana and beyond. Just to give you a bit of context, in the capital city of Ghana, about 1 out of every 3 buildings are unfinished and uncompleted, resulting in at least nearly 20% of the total investment expenditure by local government. So this is just also a picture just to illustrate that more clearly. As you can see, there's 7 property developments here, and 4 out of their structure, they exist in this skeletal state. Oftentimes when people think of Africa's built landscape, they think of it as a space of scarcity where there's a need to build modern and new developments. And what we're trying to do is actually change that perspective and looking at Africa as a space of abundance where there are a lot of buildings there, they're just unfinished. So how do we reutilize them as a space for public good? So these are just more images depicting what the landscape looked like on a localized level. So by doing so, we've orchestrated our first activation within these spaces in 2018. We took over an uncompleted residential estate that's been sitting there for 25 years. And what we did was convert it into an open-air public art installation, and where we invited 9 Ghanaian artists to respond to the theme of Limbo, to respond to the fact that the city is built up of these unfinished structures, and imagine how the city could be built in a way that's more promising and more hopeful for the future. And so these are just some of the installation shots of what that exhibition and installation looked like, which was quite successful and impactful in the sense that, you know, we were able to demonstrate that these spaces could be used and could be of benefit to the local community. So moving on from that, we are currently in a process of conducting a comprehensive scan across Africa, starting with West Africa, and building an archive to document these spaces and to understand the building stock that exists. So as you can see here, these are the sites that we've been able to identify, and as the continent looked dark, that means that we're on an ambitious mission to really document the amount that's there. And so far, these are the sites that we've been able to accumulate. So far, as we mentioned earlier, the buildings that we've worked within are more so private residential, but this just demonstrates as well the scale to which they exist, whether they're commercial real estate projects, federal projects that were left in the process of government turmoil, and so forth. So by bracing liminality, what we're doing is using the technique of photogrammetry to document these spaces. So basically scanning the entire exterior of these structures and creating a digital archive of these sites. And our ambition with creating this archive is to present this awareness and this information to government, architects, municipals, and so forth, and even real estate developers to reimagine how these structures that already exist can be used. Thank you.
All right, please give a big hand to Limbo, Accra, and Dominic. Any questions, reflections, comments from the panel here? Eske?
First of all, that's super cool. And second of all, it's sort of challenging my mental constraints when it comes to envisioning it from a business perspective. So that doesn't mean that the business potential is not there, but it requires a lot of stakeholders to make it, let's say, bankable and not a philanthropic project.
Yeah.
So my question is not so much whether it is philanthropic or whether it is business, but maybe from a business startup pitch perspective, whether you have any ideas about how to yourself make this sustainable from a bankable business point of view. So, there will be, a lot of sites to work on across Africa. There's a lot of sites to work on across the globe. There are global competitions where we try to rejuvenate cities that have sort of been forgotten or whatever. It requires architects and money and business, like whatever. What's your angle to this and projects?
I think we're do I answer? Okay. We're right now in a process of really trying to identify that, hence why we're here and we're given this opportunity to be here. And I think for us, we're at phase 1 and just being able to collect this data. And from understanding the building stock and the quantity that does exist on the continent, from then we can be able to treat and understand how do we move forward with this information, right? We at least have identified potential avenues to which this can be successful. But right now we're really in the process of R&D and really accumulating this data, accumulating this awareness and so forth. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, I have a question which builds upon Eske's question, and is that I really like your idea, especially from a public policy point of view. I'm also wary about the actual implications in terms of a private project. So my question is, have you foreseen a public-private partnership related to what your ideas are, and how can it actually translate to generate welfare and wealth and sustainability for a community?
It's a really good question, because what we are seeing as the trend in the building industry in West Africa and Africa at large is a lot of commercial real estate projects where it does tap into that private real estate market. And so it's really just like finding a balance to work alongside these individuals that have the funding and that are conducting these projects anyways, and being able to at least either have them reinvest in these already existing structures or whatever building projects that they are undergoing match the mission that we have at hand.
So a very quick question. So following that, how do you see yourself as a company? Because, as an entrepreneur, how do you support yourself to continue this? So how do you envision this potential support, for yourself?
Yes.
How do we find the funding to continue and do that?
So we see ourselves as like consultants, so working with municipalities or individuals working within these space to provide that expertise and that knowledge. But in terms of acquiring funding, so far we've been funded by architectural foundations and design grants and things of that nature to support this advancement and also contribute to the architectural discourse at large. Because as I mentioned, oftentimes when people think of Africa, they think there's nothing there, right? Whereas there are structures that are there that have been built in the past decade or more, they're just not finished, right? So what do we do with these spaces?
That's great.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
All right. Thanks a lot. Big applause to Dominic, Limbo, Accra. And now we go from a startup rooted in Ghana to Morks Reid, that's also a startup in Ghana, but solving a different challenge, but also with a different solution. Please give a big applause to Morks Reid.
Hi, my name is Adam Yanka, co-founder of Morks Reid. What the solution we are trying to present is we are using simulations to improve the sustainability of buildings in Africa. Now, Africa has a problem, being that Africa is hot, the climate in Africa is different, and we tend to import a lot of architectural solutions from the West and other countries and bring it into our climate, and it ends up not being efficient in terms of energy. It has high carbon footprint, and there's a lot of material wastage. So what we try to do as a solution is that we run simulations, we take proprietary softwares, and then we run simulations building 3D virtual models from architects when they provide, and when we try to get enough information. So we look at things like indoor air quality, energy use, daylighting, thermal comfort. These are things that we look at to try and see how well the building is performing at the exact location. So we take climate-based data and we look at the location where your project is to try and see how much information we can get to then collate. We then collate that information and we make recommendations and give that information back to the architect, who then evolves that design and makes it better. So that's what we do. And these are some of the services we run. These are not an exhaustive list, but these are some of the services we run just to look at the properties or the buildings that we have and trying to make it as sustainable as possible. Now, in terms of inclusion, we are looking at users of facilities. Like if you look at kindergarteners, for instance, kindergarteners are a young age and they have their thermal preferences. We can also look at low-income families who may not be able to afford air conditioning. So we try to even look at the materiality, run analysis for that to be able to provide comfort in terms of daylighting and natural ventilation to be able to make the spaces more efficient and comfortable. In terms of packaged sustainable solutions, we are looking at a kind of affordable packages. We want to look at packages that people can be able to afford, because not everyone can go for the full suite of building science services. Some may be able to afford depending on how much you can pay. We're also looking at possibly looking at an app where you can throw in your 3D virtual model, then it runs some form of analysis which provides some data for the architect to use to optimize the architectural design. And in terms of design adaptability, an example is if we look at the northern part of Ghana where we have rammed earth housing, they mostly would not want to throw away that technology. But what we can do is that we can adapt what they have running these simulations on the existing models and then provide some form of contemporary trend to what they have, still keeping to their cultural values or cultural precedents. So the data is given, all that data is given to the architect, mainly so that he can make the design better. And then in terms of our call to action, we are looking at educating the masses and also incentivizing sustainable buildings. People who want to build sustainable buildings must be incentivized, and we are advocating that it should be pushed to a national conversation where it can be adopted as a policy, mandating architects to adopt this approach for sustainable design. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and almost on the second. Thank you, Morks Reid. All right, our dear jury panel. Questions? Yeah, Dieter?
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
When you mentioned that you can assess a building in an actual space, I get the climate data, wind, sun, light, direction, but what about the materials? How would you analyze different materials?
All right, so with regards to the materials, the software we use, you're able to do a build-up of the material from the outside to the inside. So with that, you're able to generate the R value. Every single material has its own thermal properties. So using the software, when we do the build-up, it gives you the exact R value or U value, the thermal properties of that same material, and by so doing, irrespective of the material, whether it's a thermal, I think these days there's this plastic bricks which are even coming up because of this whole sustainability change. So if you're able to even do for the thermal or plastic bricks, I believe any single material, whether rammed earth, concrete, anything else, we can just do the build-up and it runs like it's a real thing so that you don't do a try and error thing. Basically that, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Two questions. One is maybe too technical for me to ask it, and that has to do with how quickly can you do this? So if somebody has a specific project and they come to you, how fast can you then render these things and give it to them? That's one thing. And the other question is, in the competitor landscape that I would assume would be pretty cluttered when it comes to delivering this type of intelligence to big architect firms or small architect firms, what sets you aside? What's your competitive sort of advantage?
I'll take one, you take two.
competitive advantage. All right, so I'll take the first one. So with regards to how fast you can render and do the analysis, a day, 2, we can do this. It depends on the scale of the model. If it's a simple building like this, a few hours we can be done with the analysis. But if it's like a huge scale, like a mall, a factory or something, maybe 2-3 more days, a week, we should be done with this analysis and you have your results for the architect to optimize their model. My colleague will take the next question. In terms of competitive advantage, I mean, architects have a certain knowledge in terms of the building sciences, but that knowledge is not scientifically backed by the data that is there. So what we do is these are real data that is used to provide the scenarios that they build, how well the buildings would perform in those environments. So the competitive advantage is that we are more like evolving, or we are more like optimizing, because if it's a normal concrete block wall, for instance, everyone can do it, and that's the trend. But we may come in with a material that may be more efficient in terms of providing that comfort within the range that you specify. So it's more. We have an advantage there in terms of even in terms of like green building certification. They all have a criteria that they look at, and that bit we can tailor the solution to look at those analysis, so that if you want to go for that certification, you can check it off the list that has been completed, and that gives us an advantage in that area.
A very fast question: is there other doing the same that you're doing, or have you know? I mean, do you know of others doing?
We have looked around. We haven't found any.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, and please give a big hand to Morks Reid. Thank you all for listening in. What we are doing here today is that we're providing the stage for early stage startups to pitch their ideas for you to hopefully connect and be inspired. I hope that you will also reach out to some of these startups going forward. We will quickly go to the next one from Kenya, which is MycoTile. I think a perfect segue around the conversations on sustainable materials. Please give a big hand to MycoTile. It's this one.
Africa population is expected to grow to 2.5 billion by the year 2050. This is slightly less than population of India and China combined. The infrastructure required to meet this population is unprecedented, and there is very limited local manufacturing in the continent. This results in a lot of informalities, and a lot of people end up building structures that are not very dignified or are inhabitable in extreme weather condition. To give you a little bit of context, in Kenya alone, the demand of housing is 250,000 units each year, but only 50,000 are supplied. This is an 80% deficit. But as an architect and an entrepreneur, I see an opportunity here in untapped in local material and natural renewable material. We are looking at agricultural waste, that there is a lot of it in the continent. There's a lot of factories manufacturing sugar, for example, sugar bagasse. There's a lot of sawdust. And then interestingly, there is a rapid growing mushroom mycelium, which is the vegetative part of mushrooms that can be used to bond agriculture waste. My name is Mtamu Kililo. I am founder CEO of MycoTile, where we manufacture several building material that are bonded using mushroom mycelium, and the main raw substrate being agricultural waste. We do this using sugar bagasse, coconut coir, maize cob, corn cob, coffee husks, and we dehydrate to denature the product that is completely compostable at the end of the building life. Our product is affordable because our raw material are almost outputs of another production process. It's versatile and can take the shape and form of any mold that you do. It is safe, having chitin. It's a natural fire retardant, and it is circular and compostable at the end of the building life. We've just scratched the surface with our initial products, which are wall and roof insulation and suspended ceiling tile. But we are looking to going to building blocks, furniture, and even outside building industry into packaging. We are currently housed by the Kenya government, and we look at about 50% profit margin. We don't have the infrastructure to do it ourselves, but we are looking at when we have the infrastructure to do this production ourselves, we'll be looking like over 50% profit margins. We have raised over $200,000 in grants for product development and pilot production. Between the co-founders and advisors, we have over 30 years experience in both building industry and growing mushrooms in East and Central Africa. and we work with local partners being youth and women who collect the waste and package for us to do the production. We have partners, both NGOs, international organizations, architects, and community organizations that we work with. And we are looking at our ask today is twofold. One is looking for material specialists where we develop our specification sheet, and two is scaling the insulation panel, and one infrastructural and equipment production. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mtamo, and on the spot with your presentation. We'll leave the mic to questions. Eske?
Wow, you nailed it. Super nice pitch and super nice product. It also stood out in the very short text that you had prepared in advance that this was one of the pitches that I look forward to. I don't even know what to ask, but what is the global potential here? That would probably be my question, because I think it's a super cool project, a super cool pitch. It has all the right boxes ticked off. It's of course textualized to the context you're in right now, but if you think big, if you think global, how does that look?
I think I will answer your question from something that I've been wanting to try a lot. So in Kenya, hemp is illegal, but it has very good fibers. But I have the mushroom. So if on a global scale, we can go to any other country where hemp is legal, and we can use our mycelium and we can do the product. So yeah, we are trying to scale. It's only the mushroom we have. Anywhere that they produce agriculture waste, we can make our product. And I'm sure that's everywhere in the world.
Right, Duan?
First of all, you already answered the question I was going to ask, but then I'm going to build upon it, because I really like your pitch. I really like what you're doing. I've seen similar things being done all around the world, even in Colombia, my country, and you answered a little bit of what I wanted to ask you, because, for example, in the Polish Institute of Natural Fibers, they have a big plantation of hemp without a THD. So yes, and what I meant to ask was not how it's done and so on, but like how does it react to the elements, you know, water, fire, and so on, because I actually like what you do, but I know others who are doing this fire resistant, humid resistant. So have you taken into account that?
That's a very good question. As part of the ask, is a material specialist and test laboratories. So we've done almost in-house tests, small labs in the country. But as part of the ask is looking at labs where we can test the product, because we have different combination to improve. For example, fire retardants. I can give you an example where we use chicken feathers because they are good for fire retardants, just to add as a component. So with the material labs, we can do a few tests, and most likely we'll come up with a spec sheet for both water, fire, and basically a specification sheet of the whole product. So that's part of our ask. Yes.
All right, thanks a lot. Please give a huge applause to MycoTile. And we are delighted here at the next gen stage to provide an opportunity and a voice for you to connect with these early stage startups. From one startup working with sustainable materials, we're going to transition into Nubrix that's also working on sustainable materials. So please give them a big hand.
Good morning. My name is Elijah John, and this is Tedem Shlanga. Ladies and gentlemen, lend us your ears. Nubrix uses waste materials to create building technologies. This is because globally, various countries are enacting laws to enforce the use of green building materials. And within the South African context, 90% of waste ends up in landfills. And the construction industry is one of the highest contributors towards greenhouse gas emissions. And lastly, close to 6.9 million South Africans live in shacks or informal dwellings. Now imagine there was a way to use waste material to create sustainable housing. When I was younger, my nickname used to be Black Einstein. And during this time, my dad used to dispose of his old photocopy textbooks by burning them. I wondered, is there not a way to use those paper to make something more beneficial? And during that iteration is how Nubrix was born. Nubrix is a private company that uses waste material to create building technologies. Our first product is a brick made from waste paper that is lightweight, doesn't burn, and has high insulation properties. The high insulation properties lead to a decrease in energy consumption within the household. We're still in the R&D process and doing various tests. However, we too do not want to leave anyone behind. We're looking at using interlocking bricks that will help speed up the process of building and allow anyone to build, not just skilled labor. Beyond that, our lightweight brick will allow workers to continue building towards an early age because the bricks are not heavy for them to use. And lastly, we're looking to see, can we turn an old brick back into a new brick? So, till date, we've done 70 customer interviews with individuals in the construction space. We've got 9 letters of intent. One of them is an order for 100,000 bricks once we get the bricks ready. And we've also been working with the young entrepreneurs here and working on an MOU with 2 of the startups here as well. We've been recognized both internationally and locally, and we've also been funded by an impact investor back in South Africa. So, a brick made from paper, wouldn't it burn? No. We've built a barbecue area, we've built a wall that's been outside for 18 months, and we're working on standard size bricks, which we recently just launched. The paper brick is just our first product and definitely not our last. As you can see, we're working on dry panels to see if the process can be adaptable and looking at more research into interlocking bricks and using other waste materials as part of the process as well. So, our ask is simple. We want your waste and want to collaborate and partner with you so that we can use waste and make it into building materials. Our appeal to you is for you to invest in us. Nubrix has the potential to revolutionize the world, the way we build in the future. With your technical and financial support, imagine the heights Nubrix could reach and the change we could create throughout the globe. One more thing. Before you throw away waste paper next time, think about the bricks that could be used to create sustainable housing. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Nubrix. And you even had 5 seconds more to go. Wonderful. All right, I will hand over the mic to the panel. Now they're getting very excited about little material prototypes here. Any questions, reflections, Dita?
Yes, thank you very much. Could you elaborate a little bit about, you said you were in R&D phase still, a little bit about the production process. How do you actually process this material? Just a few words on that. You were also mentioning the fire resistance, etc. Just a few words on that.
So we can't reveal too much because we're still in the patent process of it, but essentially our process is really on taking the different waste and adding a couple of other bondage materials to it and then processing that. So the whole process from us getting the paper to a brick takes about 3 weeks.
Yeah, Kiara?
To add on that as well, the fire tests we've done have been internal tests where we've managed to actually validate that there is insulation with the product. It doesn't burn, it doesn't char. We used barbecue in South Africa in fashion style. We like to braai, so we just showed how we cook meat using that very product that we made.
And, in regard to waste selection, so it's waste before it gets to the, what is called?
Landfill.
Landfill, sorry. The landfill, or if it's, you need to, for example, this is only paper you said, eh? So you need to select, and how do you plan to, how this would work in an African context where you will live, and if it's possible, because it required, some, recycling system and so on. So to have this large scale, yes. I'm just thinking.
Cool. Yeah, so tying that, we have a partnership with one of the biggest waste companies in South Africa, and one of the waste products they have is a paper waste that they have to get rid of that goes to landfills. And they say once we figure this out, they'll be able to fund us or supply us with 30 to 40 tons of waste paper from them. It's already been sorted by them, and we're working on that distribution channel. And that's also one of our competitive advantages, having those partnerships so we don't have to think about the distribution angle.
Quick one, Eske.
Yes. You also nailed it, by the way. It was a super nice pitch. You mentioned that you were in the patenting process. Is that correctly understood?
Yeah, so we haven't started that. We're still playing around with it before we go into the patent.
What part of that can you patent?
The process.
The process from paper to that?
Yeah.
Nobody has done that before?
So people have done different forms of it, but with the way we do it and the additives that we're adding to it. So that's what we're looking at considering doing.
Okay. Yeah. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, a big applause to Nubrix.
Just yes. a lost piece of information. I gave you some codes there. There's a barcode on the end of those small tabs. Please could you scan it, and then we can get in touch with you and just continue our conversation. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot to Nubrix. And we're gonna stay in the theme around sustainable building materials, turning waste into value again. So please on stage, welcome Placom from Kenya as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Asha Kareki from Kenya. I am the CEO of Placom, where we are transforming plastic waste into premium furniture as well as homeware products. So we all know that plastic is ugly. That is the perception that we have. But for us, we are trying to change that perception and try to inspire a generation that is able to appreciate the value that waste has to offer. I don't know if we can all attest that this is very beautiful. It gives you a marble effect that gives us hope that plastic doesn't have to be waste. It's only waste if we waste it. So in Kenya, as I think plastic waste is a global crisis, and in Kenya, it's even worse. Most of our plastic waste ends up in our landfills, and most of these landfills are based in slum areas in Kenya. The guys who live in these areas are very poor, and for us, we see this as an opportunity to create employment, mostly to young women who live in these areas. So we also have lacked the infrastructure for collection of plastic waste, and so for us, we want to come up with a community where women are the influencers who are able to mobilize the whole community to help us in the collection of the plastic waste, and we also buy the same plastic waste that they've been able to collect. So our solution is we mostly collaborate with communities such that we have our own network to ensure that we're able to collect as much plastic as possible. And then we then mobilize and also train women who help us collect this plastic waste from landfills, from estates, and even drainage lines. After we're able to collect the plastic waste, we sort them in terms of the types of plastics, the colors, clean, and then process them. So in terms of the processing, we create a circular material that is called a plastic sheet. It's like almost like a plywood, which we then turn and shape it into different products, like the furniture. We have a variety of products, and the applications are very diverse. So some of the features of these products is that they're very eco-friendly and very beautiful, as you can see. So it gives you it actually motivates and inspire you to about the value of plastic waste. So so far we've been able to organize 8 women groups who are now able to source this plastic waste from communities. We've also been able to work on our R&D. This is some of the prototypes that we have. We've also been able to establish partnerships with local communities, because then when it comes to sustainability and also being able to create a community that is able to come up with structures to improve the waste management in the communities. We've also had partnerships with non-profits and local governments, which helped us to increase the awareness program. Luckily, we've also we've been able to attract an investment of $10,000 early this year for us to be able to improve on our product prototype. Thank you.
All right, please give a big applause to Placom. Questions, comments from the jury? Eske?
Yes, so this is obviously a super complex field, and at least in Europe, regulation is basically changing day by day, and soon we will talk about from which cycles can we take plastic and put it into another cycle, and when do we need to sort of figure out solutions that makes plastic stay in the same cycle. This is a super cool upcycling concept, so congratulations on that. My question to you is, from your context with your solution, so to speak, and your concept, what's the biggest challenges of scaling this up?
So the main challenge is more about the technologies for sorting, because plastic is very delicate, and while you try to mix them, it's very dangerous to even the employee and even the environment. So being able to adapt the best technologies for sorting is some of the challenges that we're also facing. Then the other challenge is about the perception of the people, because like in our context, we have the culture that we brought up with is not like the culture here in Denmark, where people are very responsible. So we are trying to come up with a generation that is able to know that that our actions actually have consequences. So those are some of the challenges that we're trying to address. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I have 10 questions, but I'll keep it simple. I think I want to comment first and complement the word that you used, and I think it's very important here, is to turn it into premium products. This is what makes sense when you talk about repurposing plastic. My question was about to the local partnership and how you create opportunities for the collection. The question here is, will there also be opportunities to co-design some of the products? What type of involvement or share of how equitable is a solution in terms of the value that the opportunities you make for the local women, for example?
Yeah, so in terms of the partnerships, we mostly collaborate with local nonprofits because then they already have a database of the marginalized communities, of the marginalized women in different communities. So we mainly organize them into self-help groups, get them registered, then create their own network, then in which we now buy plastic from them. So the other avenue for collaboration is mostly with furniture brands, because I think the issue of ESG is global, and every organization is trying to find ways in which they can be able to work in line to achieve the same. So we're looking at our materials being raw materials for other production or furniture brands. Yeah.
Short, Dwan? Yes?
Short. Yeah, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. I see a lot of potential for circular economy, and I'm concerned or maybe even impressed at the possibility of a social impact, because what you say is something similar to what we have in Colombia, I guess. In Colombia, the first stage of recycling is very well organized, not with big companies, but with families, households who are part of cooperatives. So I guess that's the same model you're bringing us to us here. Do you see a possibility of this helping also enhance their possibilities of employment and welfare?
Yes, most definitely, because the moment that we're able to have these women come together, then I think it's also natural that women are the best influencers in the community. So when it comes to things like trying to mobilize people, even at home, at household level, it becomes even easier to do this at home. So we actually looking at our products as something to inspire a story, or to even tell a story of the jobs that we've been able to create along plastic value chain, and also the products, because technically the rich are paying for this so that we can be able to pay the poor, which is a very good deal, you know, because the rich are the ones who are polluting the environment the most, sorry to say.
Sorry, very short.
Very short, Chiara.
That is an amazing setup and idea, and it catch really a lot of issues together. So it's really impressive, and I just wanted to think, exactly following what he said, if you have thought about that, the relevance of this, not just for Africa, but also for the global scale.
Yeah, that is something that I also appreciate, that feedback, because I also met someone from Mexico who's also trying to borrow some ideas, and we also appreciate that in such events is where we can be able to find synergies and also scale some of the solutions that we have with other people. Yeah.
All right, please give a big warm applause to Gladys and Placom. Thanks a lot. So now we go forward to India again, moving in with very, very different prototypes. What we're doing here right now is that we're giving the stage to 13 early stage startups to be presenting their ideas, contributing to a sustainable society where no one is left behind. So please welcome our next startup here, Saafwater.
Thanks a lot, and good afternoon, everyone. We are here from Saafwater, but before telling about Saafwater, I would want you to tell a story that's related to me. Back in December of 2020, when I was traveling to my grandparents' place, my mother fell ill, and it lasted for 3 months. And that was because of accidental consumption of groundwater. And this was after purification. We could have avoided this if there was a system that can forewarn about the contamination. When dived deeper, we found out that 2 billion people in the world are affected due to this problem. And in India itself, it is 200,000 people are a casualty of this problem. And this is increasing. And because of global warming, the water pollution rate is also increasing. And this is not affecting not just humans and animals, but it is also affecting infrastructure and agriculture too. For cities that are transforming into sustainable and smart cities, it is a key that there is data-driven information for water towards sustainability. Imagine a system that can install seamlessly to any water source. It can monitor water quality in real time and forewarn for contamination, as well as provide 3 months of prediction for any contamination, all at your fingertips. Introducing Saafwater, an AI IoT-based platform that does all this while also providing purification recommendations in real time. With our patent-pending technology, we are able to monitor physical, chemical, and biological contamination with just limited set of sensors. And we, to achieve our vision, we've focused on 3 aspects. The universal design, which allows us to install at any water source, be it pipes of any size or even a tank or reservoir, or it could be, and the second one is adaptability, where we can install any sensors to increase our potential for wider application. The third one is very important, that is communication, because we should not leave anybody behind when it comes to water quality information. And that is why we are focusing on 3 media, one of them being the user-friendly dashboard, where water quality is indicated and summarized into very good, good, bad, and worse, and with respective colors. The next one is via SMS and email alerts. And the last one, which is interesting, that is an on-site visual indicator where the same water quality is summarized in just 3 basic colors. That is for very good, good, bad, and worse. With all this, it allows us to not leave any demographic behind and allow us to reach a greater audience while not having any limitations for any digital device or internet. And also the best part is they don't need any education in water quality or to understand the data. Due to all these features and aspects of Saafwater, we were awarded the Call for Code Global Challenge. We were the grand prize winner. We were also recognized by Prime Minister Modi on several events, and we were also a part of the Amrut 2.0 scheme, where we are doing Hyderabad and we are serving around 44,000 people out there. We are working on an ecosystem for Saafwater under geospatial analysis via satellites, optical detection for microplastics and other modern contamination, dosing systems for improving water sources, and a zero sensor based design to enable more accessible outreach for water quality monitoring. These are the application, and we look forward to partners who have the same common goals so that we can make the invisible water quality visible and have a sustainable future and sustainable cities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Saafwater. There are some materials also being distributed here. All right, so reflections, questions, comments from the panel? Dita?
Yes. Thank you very much for also very comprehensive, usable interface there that even I understood. My question is more into what are your experiences on the use? It seems like this is already in use. What are some of the impacts, some of the effects of your solution? Can you comment anything on the impacts it's had?
Absolutely. So under Amrut 2.0, we were connected to Hyderabad city. So we've installed a couple of devices out there. One of the devices is monitoring chlorination in the Red Hills reservoir, where there is 44,000 people that's using the same water. Earlier, what was happening is they were not having data in hand in real time, or they were doing manual tests where there was a lot of differences between the dosing team and the monitoring team. So with this device, it is all seamless. As far as the other parameters is concerned, the other units, they are able to monitor contamination leakage, as well as they help the bodies out there and the local people to address what purifier to be used on the fly, as well as the local authority are able to find where exactly is the contamination, because it's a network of devices that's deployed out there.
Can you just walk me through who your customers are and who your end users, so to speak, are? I'm a potential end user living in Bangalore with my RO filter in a community that I'm sure also has some kind of oral purification system. And then there is like some, municipal water quality, blah, 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 blah. The RO filter, by the way, which is in my kitchen, as far as I understand, like 1/4 of the water that goes through that just vanishes and goes back into the system, which is a pretty high percentage. So the second question is, if you look at your sustainability impact also from the end user point of view, besides the health, do they have, like, what does this product help with, so to speak?
Yeah. So I'll answer the first question first. Our use cases are multiple. So our customer segment is from B2C to B2B2G as well as B2B. In B2C in Bangalore, we have installed at RNS colony in Yashwantpur, where the water is severely bad in the, so just when there is shift in 2 seasons. So that's how gated communities and apartments can understand and evaluate their water quality, as well as WTP plants, that is water treatment plants. For B2G, it is for maintaining public distribution networks and even having a seamless integration of how they are supplying their water, how is their processes are, and how it can be improved in the future. And the other one, that is STP and mining and even agriculture, is where today, because since water is affected a lot, say in India for example, there's arsenic in water because of heavy fertilizer use during the green revolution period. So that is now coming into our food. So if we can monitor water quality pre-hand, we can take necessary decisions so that even the agriculture is improved. Of course, even modern day agriculture can be facilitated because we also support dosing as well.
All right, in respect of time, a big applause to Saafwater.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll take the clicker. Yes. And from India, we are going to go and hear and set the stage to 2 startups from Korea, the first one being UpSight. Please give a big warm applause to UpSight.
Good afternoon. We are UpSight, which provides smart structure management solution using the CNN ensemble algorithm. There are many magnificent and beautiful buildings all over the world. It's the same with the we live in here. Just as big and beautiful as these buildings, it's also very important to keep them safe. It is because the even or minor accident can lead to major loss of life and disasters. UpSight is responsible for building safety through innovative technologies. Our web and mobile solution includes the deep learning technology. Furthermore, our solution can protect the problems such as crack or whiteware or water leak and broken part. Extract out with 95% accuracy. Our solution is carried out 2 processes. This data can lead to safety diagnosis and building history management and predict of possible problems. These are images from our solution. It shows the problems that occurs in buildings easily and accurately. In addition, our solution detects various problems with buildings. As a result, we hope that the world better. So, in the end of the year, our solution will be released free. Yeah. This is me and other 2 guys. Our UpSight is core member, and the other 7 developers in Korea still keep working in Korea. So if you want more questions for our solution and cooperate with our solution, or you want to use our solution, take a picture and contact for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please give a big applause to UpSight. And questions, reflections from our panel? Yeah? Chiara?
So, if I understand correctly, this is a drone that goes inside the buildings and around the building and that makes a full analysis of the quality, and is this what it is?
Okay. Right now, we're doing the only exterior of the buildings, not the inside. First of all, we mainly focus on the big bridges, high buildings. So in that way, people cannot take photos or diagnosis just with their eyes. So we use drones because he has drone technology. He used to run a drone company, manufacturing company for 7 years. And drone is one of the ways you can use. We provide service, but we don't have to because we usually work with the B2B service with the other companies. And if they have drone skills to take an image, then it's fine. Yeah.
Just to maybe build on that, so you sell this as a service, or you sell it as a technology package, including capacity development, or how does that work?
We sell as a service, and in Korea, if we do the safety inspection, visual inspection, we have to make a report to the government or to the customer.
What are the regulations basically that can maybe be a leverage for your solution? Is there any legislation or regulation in Korea as of today that makes builders or people in charge of the bridges required to do these checks?
Yes. They have to do a visual inspection every year. And then if you see any bigger issues, then you have to do detailed inspections. That's it.
Duvan, short.
Okay, I see potential and I congratulate you, but I am wary about how this truly relates to improving when it comes to inspections done by professionals with the existing technology carried in their hands. Like, is it just convenient because it's with a drone, or does it have an actual advantage to the inspections that are done in every country of buildings with existing devices?
Okay. First, we focus on the saving manpowers and monies, because big bridges like just 1 second. 다리 좀 보여줘. 다리. Yeah, big bridge like this. It takes almost a week to do a visual inspection, but we do with drones. It takes only a day, or 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours to run all these diagnoses. So, yeah, we sort of help them to do more works, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Give a big applause also to UpSight that made it all the way from Korea to be here with us today presenting. And from one Korean startup, we're going to go to the next one now, which is Wooups. That's also from Korea. Let's see if we can find your slides here. There was a lot of annexes here. Not enough time. All right, so next up, also from Korea, we have Wooups. Please give them a big applause.
Okay, good afternoon. We are Wooups. We recycle the fabric waste and textile waste to the material of the concrete brick and block. So we have 4 members total, and we have high level of the expertise, not only in the closing field, but also in the construction field. So actually, our co-founder, who operates our own clothing manufacturing factory, experienced a huge amount of the waste, and also treat them 100% in Korea by landfill or the incineration. So that was our first starting point. So as everyone knows that fast fashion is causing all clothes made and treat them thrown away too fast and too easily. So that's we started, and also we found the the another industry problem that in the construction field. So there is a shortage of the natural aggregate for the concrete block. So yeah, and as a result, the related market from the alternative sources with a reasonable price. So this is solution for us for this old problem that we turn the fabric waste to the effective resource, and also develop the upcycling product that can increase the amount of the circulation of the waste. So here is the two products that we have. Fablog. Fablog is the concrete block that in the construction site, such as labor site or in the building sector, and also fabric. Fabric is the design brick that is made of the fabric waste, and we can use in the interior material. Yeah, our product is stronger than the normal block and brick, since we make a particle size up to 100 times smaller than the normal recycled material, so it causes less internal crack inside. And like by take advantage of the well strength of the fabric, the bending flexibility performance is getting higher up to 10%, and all tests have been completed by the authorized institute in Korea. Yeah. So in case of the fabric, by using the various color and texture of the fabric and textile, we can create a aesthetic specialty as the customer wants to create a space. Yeah, our first customer, Patagonia, has high interest in, and we are in the progress, as you can see, in Korea. And we are in the stage of the testing and evaluating our prototype, and also funded by the Korea government ministry for the R&D. Yeah, through this program, we are aim to clarify the goal is inclusion. So we're gonna focus on the country in need where the highly developed clothing manufacturing industry, which means has some serious problem with clothes waste management. Thank you.
All right, big applause to Wooups. Questions, comments from the panel? Yes, Didi?
Yes, of course. Thank you, and what a beautiful presentation also.
Thank you.
Now we've seen bricks from agricultural waste, from what was the second, from paper waste, and now textile waste. And of course, as a panel, you wonder, is this just because of the available waste stream, or can you comment on the choice of textile beyond availability? Is there a functional quality? Can you say something to those differences, and why textile?
Actually, it's like an internal source, because my brother, who is co-founder, operates a clothing manufacturing factory, so we can get the source, the raw material that is the waste, easily compared to the other existing companies. So we can produce the product in the low range of the cost and price. And also, it's really less interest in Korea for this waste type. So we are just challenging for this type because,
Okay. Duan?
Hello. First of all, congrats. It's a good idea for a circular economy as well. I'm very impressed with the quality of the materials, because you're not the only ones working on it, not only in this panel, but worldwide. And I really see a very good potential, because I can feel this is the expected quality of a finalized product. My question would be, besides textile, what goes in this process, and how is the making of it, and what other solutions can you offer to the final client?
As far as I understood, so the process to make this product, first of all, we collect this raw material, that is the waste fabric, from our brother's factory, by easily, and we already classified and separated by some other polluted some things, and then we make this fabric to the from crushing to the powder of this foam, like this foam, and then we put it with the raw material such as the water, cement, and small tiny stone or sand, and so on. And then we press them, and then we make it.
Yeah. Eske, last question.
Yes, okay. Then I need to pick and choose. Talk about your partnership with Patagonia, please.
Okay, that's very good point. So in the early of the May, they just show us the high interest in. So we just cooperated with some small amount, which is 2,000 the fabric, this one, to their department store as an interior material in their store. Yeah. So yeah, now in the process, and then 2 weeks later, they will show to the all clients.
Fast. It's about sustainability, because cement is not sustainable, let's say. I mean, depending on how do you do that. So have you thought about other alternatives and how that impact the sustainability of your product?
Yeah. Actually, we just put below than 10% so far, but we are testing and we evaluating by cooperating with the Korea government ministry. So we just aim to get more, percentage of our waste to their product. Yeah.
All right, a big applause to Wooups. Thank you very much for a great presentation and for bringing your materials here from Korea. We got 2 startups left here. I mean, they are not leaving the Congress. They are also here tomorrow. So I would really invite you all for coming and connecting and reaching out to them. But next up, we have a startup that's based in Denmark, but also very international in profile. Please give a big applause to Zupply.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. My name is Adam. We are... Where should I?
The arrow on the,
yeah.
Yes.
We are Zupply, and we automate the transition of building resources towards circular business models. 40% of the global waste are building products and materials coming from new constructions or old buildings. And the most alarming is 1/3 of them could have a circular life, yet today they end up being wasted. The problem is the way we build today. It's just too expensive and time-consuming to circulate these resources. Because the current business models, processes, and tools are manual and designed for wasteful linear flows. Hence, circularity is not a scalable practice in projects. And in really simple terms, it's more convenient to waste. That is why we have built Zupply. It is a web-based circular automation platform that is accessible to everyone from the construction sites to the office. We leverage data processing and automation to enable the transition of the resources towards circularity by making it easy to map, manage, and circulate these resources. Our platform is based on automation modules and works with all kinds of building projects. Starting from a resource mapping with digital twins, we enable live tracking and collaboration towards easy and data-driven circularity. We connect every player so every resource can find a circular life. We built a digital connection to democratize the circulation of resources, and our platform is currently used by industry players in Denmark, Canada, and Mexico. With our platform, you can save up to 25% of currently wasted resources during a life cycle of a building project. We turn what today is wasted into profits and positive impact. In a typical 20-apartment building block project, we can save up to 200,000 euros and avoid up to 150 tons of CO2 emissions. And by automating the current manual tasks, we can save time so we can ensure that the circular business case is made. We have the vision to become the de facto circular automation platform, and we have forecasted that by 2025, we will circulate the equivalent amount of materials that is needed to build 4 times the largest building on Earth, the Burj Khalifa. We make money by offering our platform as a subscription for a flat monthly fee per project. Our revenue opportunity only in the Nordics is 100 million euros with over 40,000 projects that is ongoing and can benefit from Zupply. In Europe, there are over 450,000 projects and they will double within the next decade. But why now? Material prices are in all-time high, new regulatory frameworks are in our favor, and the circular market is untapped and huge. And we are the suppliers, and we have expertise in software development within the industry and wide experience in constructions around the world. We are located at the Technical University of Denmark and backed by strong players who believes in our mission and product. Thank you very much. Let's make circularity happen together.
Please give a big warm hand here. And the mic is yours. Panel, questions, comments?
Yes, I love asking these questions. I'm sorry, it was a super pitch. Please tell me again what your product is and how it works if I'm the user.
When you think about circularity, there is a lot of manual tasks ongoing, through making calculation of the data, going around buildings and saying I have 4 windows, 3 doors. We avoid all this. We make it automated with software and your cell phone.
Interface?
Yeah, we use a technology called Matterport. That's the first step, which is like a camera that you just walk around and automatically you say, I have 4 doors, 4 windows. We match them to a digital twin, meaning we put an identity to them, CO2, cost, even specifications, and then that we just connect players to circulate them. We put them in our inventory bank, if you could call it. So we try to make it as simple as possible of something that it's already happening, just with Excel and PDFs.
Did it? Yes, so on redistributing these materials from one place to another, the building stays as its own material bank until someone needs it, or do you collect it somewhere? What's that?
What we try is to have a policy of zero waste. So when we create a material bank, the first priority, we try to use it in between the building. But we have set it up in such a way that it can be exchanged internally, portfolio of buildings within the company, externally, different marketplaces. Even we have established a take-back system with one of the suppliers here. What we try is to democratize these resources that they don't have visibility right now in the community level or in the near vicinity level.
Is it already in use and is it applied already, and how much, and what is the status of the applicability?
Yeah, it's actually, from day one, we did it in collaboration with the knowledge providers here. To give examples, DTU, near us, other developers that I don't know if I should mention their name, but we work with them from day one because this process already is there. Like, they just don't do it with automation. They just do it with Excel and PDF. It's not something that we, let's say, invented. We just try to optimize it because otherwise the business case is lost. Like, literally speaking, one of very nice client we have, which he just gave a talk here, he was saying that it costs more to know what you have than to actually the product itself. We want to avoid this.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Please give a warm applause here for Zupply. Great presentation. We're right now providing the stage to 13 startups to showcase their solutions targeting sustainable cities, leaving no one behind. So last but definitely not least, please give a warm welcome to HippoBuild from Colombia.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great, great. Let's see. Hi, everybody. My name is Mas. I'm the founder and CEO of HippoBuild. And today we're going to tell you a little bit about medium constructors in Latin America. Imagine you're the owner of a construction company. You show up to your job site and you see this. A bunch of guys sitting down, not doing their job. You realize, shit, we're out of cement. That's why they're not doing anything. I have to run to the nearest place to buy a couple of bags of cement, but of course I'm gonna end up overpaying for it because I haven't planned for this purchase. That's because I don't have the right software implemented. I don't have the software to really track what's going on and how to operate my job site. This leads to increases in prices, delays on the job site, and a lot of more mistakes, which of course in the end impact my margin. Oh. There we go. So we've built a software that tracks their on-site progress, their inventory, and we automate their purchasing process. And we give this software completely for free to the constructors. Because we don't want to just solve the operational problem, we want to solve problems that are underlying, namely the supply chain issue. Major providers of material, they sell to a chain of greedy middlemen who finally sell to the medium constructors, increasing the prices a lot. But with our software, we can predict their buying behavior, know what they're going to buy and when they're going to buy it, so we can group the demand together and buy much bigger orders directly from the big providers, thereby lowering the prices for materials with up to 20%. There we go. We're focused on medium constructors. They represent about 50% of the industry overall, but they're also the type of company that's really, really left behind. Nobody wants to build software for these guys. And that's simply because they don't spend money on software. They spend maybe $5,000 a year on software. But these guys also spend $5 million on materials, and they're still overpaying for it. So we've built our entire business around this premise, that we can give away the software, optimize the supply chain, and we take about 5% on average whenever we sell materials, which gives us an opportunity for each construction company for about $250,000 we can make annually. We launched about a year ago. We sold almost $2 million worth of materials, and we've consistently been increasing both the savings for the constructor, but also our revenue on each sale. We've put together a great team. It's primarily due to my two co-founders that we've been doing so well. So we are a Colombian company, but I'm Danish. And we have a really cool announcement right now because we're almost cash flow positive. This month we should break even. We should have our first proper revenue after getting rid of all our costs. And because of that, we're planning to raise another small round to really accelerate our growth for the next 6 to 12 months. We don't really want to work with startups or with investors. We want to work with construction companies and suppliers who can help us out. So if you want to come and be our next Hippo hero, please come and talk to us afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please give a big applause to HippoBuild. And let's give the mic to the panel.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the nice pitch, by the way?
Thank you.
But can you elaborate a little bit on the sustainability impact here? So one thing is time saved and money saved and materials sold.
Yeah.
But what about the sustainability impact?
So there are plenty of things that are sort of happening in that chain. One is instead of buying steel and shipping it to one location, shipping it to another location, third location, and then finally out to the constructors at a super high markup, we do it directly from the factory straight to the constructor. So there's a huge saving just in transport in that sense. But we've also started to sell unused materials and waste materials from one construction site to another construction site. Because I know what you have in your inventory, I know what the other guy is going to buy, so I can facilitate the sale between two companies who are not normally selling materials to each other. That's not really a big focus for us right now. It's a focus for us to just become a sustainable company that can actually exist and keep growing. And then these are sort of problems that we have to fix over the next months and years.
Congratulations first.
Thank you.
I see from your pitch that you're selling us a proven business model, which, from my understanding, is local thus far. What would be your plans to expand?
So we're looking very hungrily towards Mexico and Brazil as well. We have two constructors that we are onboarding in Mexico. We haven't started selling materials to them, but most of our providers, we have 15, 16 providers right now, they're all regional. It's companies like Gerdau, Holcim, Cemex, who are operating across Latin America. And they're also sort of ready for us to open up new markets for them. So that is really the approach. The software is completely free. We can just pick it up and put it in any company that wants to start using it, and then sort of gathering that data to close that sales gap.
Yeah, Dita?
Yes, so your first picture was about not having the material at hand when you needed it. So if you need to pool demand to make a purchase,
yeah,
how long is the waiting time then before you purchase whatever?
So actually, just before we went on stage, Felipe, he just shipped out about how much, 500 kilos or so of cement to another construction site. So we don't need to have 16 kilos before we place the order. But when we work with a cement provider, we tell them next month we're going to sell more or less 19 tons, 15 here, 4 here, 6 here, and that is enough for them to really prepare their production and have much more efficiency in their operations, which then lower the prices for us. So we're a better sales partner for them, and that's really how sort of that pooling of the demand functions.
So a short question regarding novelty. I mean, how do you think, I mean, are there other companies like yours? I mean, is it, what did the idea come from? I understand the concept, but I don't know whether it's like, are you a new thing or it's something that it's existing already, for example, in Denmark or in other places in the world?
That's a really good question, because we have family who are a construction company, so we were like looking into how we could support them first. And there are marketplaces, but they don't really solve any problems, because that's just another place I have to go and collect quotes. And there is software, but it's just way overpriced, because the software is focused on trying to make money on, you know, the construction company paying $1,000, $5,000 a month. So most of the novelty is working with the constructors and predicting that buying behavior. That's really what doesn't exist right now, where other marketplaces, they might just, you show up, say, I want 5 tons of steel, you get a quote for 5 tons of steel. We try to predict that buying behavior at least 1 month into the future, so we can quote 100 tons of steel and therefore lower the price on each of those multiple different 5 tons of steel sales.
All right, please give a big applause to HippoBuild. So, I will hand over the mic here. So HippoBuild was the last presentation of our early stage startups. We had 13 in total that's been part of our program called Next Generation City Action. Today on this stage we're having 4 different sessions where we're giving the stage to student teams and startups to showcase the sustainable future, leaving no one behind from their perspective, using their background and the solutions that they're driving forward. You can learn much more about these projects by actually going on our website, so nextgenerationcityaction.com. You can access all the student teams and the startups there, so I would really encourage you also to reach out and be connected there. I also want to give a big thanks to our panel. You get some mental space now, but please give them a big applause. They have the tough job now of finalizing their scoring. We will be back here in 1 hour focusing on our solutions targeting inclusive water of the future. So thanks a lot for this session and hope to see you again.